Welcome to Panama. I'd heard the stories of a rich and diverse forest.
Hi, buddy.
And I'd be lying if I didn't admit I was psyched to be here. I'd find plenty of butterflies and a heck of a lot more.
Oh, did you see that guy?
That's what I could count on. But then, Panama surprised me. TechKnow came here to check out the massive Panama Canal expansion project, but this trip would become much more. This is TechKnow, a show about innovations that can change lives.
The science of fighting a wildfire.
We're going to explore the intersection of hardware and humanity, and we're doing it in a unique way. This is a show about science.
Whoa. Oh my God.
By scientists. Pink and purple paint the skies over a downtown city skyline. It could be any city in the world. But this is Panama, a country stuck in the middle. One of Latin America's richest, with overwhelming poverty smack in the middle of incredible wealth. But most of what makes Panama great is its incredible canal.
The Panama Canal is a 24/7 operation.
More than 100 years old and still an engineering marvel. This is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, where massive ships glide between slim locks in an incredibly cool and perfect synchronized ballet.
Bajándolo. Cerradas.
Welcome to TechKnow. We are in Panama, and all this construction around me is for the expansion of the new Panama Canal. It is massive in size and scope, and especially when you see it from up there.
The new canal, like the old canal, is all about moving massive ships between two of the world's great oceans. They're really just adding an extra lane here to fit the modern vessels of the 21st century. If you remember history class, the French started here in 1880. The US came in and finished the job in 1914, creating a canal for the ages, a 50-mile-long freshwater shipping lane that cut directly across the slim Isthmus of Panama, allowing vessels to go between Atlantic and Pacific Oceans.
We're here in Gatun Lake, and this ship is actually going through the Panama Canal, heading towards the Pacific. Now, here in this tiny boat, that ship looks huge next to us, but this is actually nothing compared to the size of the ships that'll be coming through here in the near future.
A lot of people tell me, like, Ilya, you're gonna go down in history like the original construction, so...
Ilya Marotta is the woman in charge of this massive project. Simply put, anything and everything that gets built here is on her watch.
When you think of the building of the original Panama Canal, it is one of the most impressive engineering feats that mankind has done. And now you are taking on this expansion. What is that like?
I mean, it's a great feeling. This is a dream job for any engineer.
What are we hearing right now?
Right now, these are the hydraulic jacks that lift the gates to put them in the position for the maintenance bracket. So they're getting ready to get this gate in its final position to do the testing. So that's what they're doing right now. This is gate number 1. We're in Lockheed 1 on the Pacific side, and this is the smallest gate. It's 2,300 tons.
That's the smallest gate.
Yes.
These are the gates she's talking about. There are 16 of them. Average weight, 3,300 tons. Made in Italy, then shipped to Panama on a specially designed vessel. They represent the most obvious difference between the old canal and new. These are the old canal gates. They open and close. The new ones slide in and out of place.
How do you get a gate that size into something that narrow?
Very carefully. Actually, it was pretty neat. They had these, they looked like skateboards with tons of wheels. She came down a road from on the ocean, and then they just maneuvered it with the little wheels inside the slot. There were millimeters of clearance to get her in.
Okay, millimeters of
Yes.
clearance in something that big.
Yes.
Another difference between the old canal design and the new are these water-saving basins.
So the water-saving basins, are those big giant ponds that we see over there?
Yes.
What do they do? How does it fit into this?
Okay, the way the water-saving basins are built, they have 3 different levels. And these levels go hand in hand with the level of the water in the chamber. So the high level will go to the highest water-saving basins, the middle one to the middle one, and low to the low. And then the ship will go to the next chamber.
Got it.
We will use 7% less water to put 3 times more cargo.
So 7% sounds like a kind of small number, but how many gallons are we talking about?
Okay, right now we use 52 million gallons of water. In the existing locks, we'll use 48 million gallons of water.
With a project like this, a million things are going on all at the same time. There are 6 gate sections on the new canal. Each one comes with 2 gates in case one fails. Ilya sent us to gate number 7 to see what was happening there. When we arrived, it was clear something was up, and it wasn't good. The language is a mix of Italian and Spanish, but the message is clear. There was a problem with gate number 7.
So right now, these guys are actually talking to 2 divers down below right now because they're in the middle of lifting up an entire piece of the lock so they have eyes on in the water.
As the sun beat down on the exposed deck, down below dive teams were given scopes so the bosses upstairs could see what was wrong. The issue revolved around the removal of a section of one of the large gates. A piece was misaligned, and divers are pulling straps underneath to get it right again. The team made fast work of the problem.
So you looking here, what do you see?
The hook fitting the panels.
And just as quickly as tensions rose, they fell into laughter as the giant door came out just the way it was supposed to. Success doesn't come easy, but here at the canal expansion, it keeps coming. And that all points up to the woman at top.
Now, I gotta say, everybody here is wearing an orange vest, but you are wearing pink.
Yes.
Why is that?
Let's face it, you don't expect a woman to have this job. So a lot of the people would say, well, can you do it? This guy said, Ilya, you're married, you have a husband, you have 3 kids. I says, I went to marine engineering college. I've been in the men's world all my life. I started working in a shipyard. So it was like, if I'm a girl, I should wear pink.
You're gonna own it.
As we spoke, workers dropped by in buckets, off to work on the sides of the new canal wall. It's too easy to get a tightly focused view in a spot like this.
So I'm not gonna lie, I was a little surprised getting here. This looks a little bit narrow for the size of the ships. What do you think?
No, it's not. It can be deceiving because it's so tall. When you go down below, you'll feel the magnitude of the chamber.
Can we go?
Yes, of course.
And with that, we were off, driving down below into the bowels of the canal. I couldn't help but think this spot will go down in history. Pretty soon, ships will sail here.
So where we are standing right now, this will be the Panama Canal.
Yes.
That's kind of amazing.
Yeah, the new one. This will be flooded. No, you will not be able to stand here in the dry pretty soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're pretty lucky to be here right now.
Yes.
So what else can you see down here now that there's
Okay,
no wall?
let's go over and look at the gate. This is the famous gate.
Wow. So this thing is massive. How much energy does it take to pull it and move it?
A small motor, 80 horsepower.
80 horsepower to move
Because
this entire
of
thing.
the buoyancy compartment, only 15% of the actual weight of the gate is what's resting on that wheel.
That's some pretty good engineering, I think.
It is. It's very awesome.
So you're building this for the long run.
Yes.
How long?
100 years, just like the existing canal.
And then, as you might expect, the head of engineering got an important phone call. Just like that, our time with her was up. We'd seen amazing things, but there was work to be done. After all, a project like this needs to keep on schedule.
When we look at this, we see just a giant project with a lot going on. When you look at this, what do you see?
Well, it's a dream come true because I saw paper, I saw dirt. So when you see this thing being built from the ground up, it's like, wow, it's a dream come true. It's just a beautiful structure, and you know in your head everything that is below and how everything was built. So it's just a magnificent masterpiece. It's not just a lock.
The heat of the Panama day starts early, usually with a slow but gorgeous sunrise, clouds creating a soft canvas over the Chagres River as it winds its way into Gatun Lake. The mighty Chagres. The day begins and ends here. They say everything in Panama does.
The struggle with Panama is to keep this river, which is the Panamanian Nile. You can't compare with any other river.
The Smithsonian Institute's Dr. Stanley Hecadan Moreno is considered the environmental conscience of Panama. He studies his country from the Goleta Marine Center, a science outpost that sits on a gorgeous stretch of beach on Panama's Caribbean coast.
It's almost impossible to explain Egypt without the Nile. Well, you can't explain Panama without the Chagres. It's what made possible this country.
The Chagres is the river that was dammed up 100 years ago to form Gatun Lake. At the time, the largest man-made lake in the world, large enough to float these massive ocean vessels. But Gatun Lake serves another purpose, supplying 80% of the fresh water to the people of Panama. And that's why we're at the lake this morning.
All right. Ready to go? Yeah.
Ariel Rodriguez is a biologist from the University of Panama. He's taken us on a tour of Gatun Lake, but this tour isn't of the usual sights. It wasn't long before we found what we were looking for.
Behind me, that pump is for water, but it's out of the water. That doesn't look normal.
No, of course it's not normal.
Sadly, the pump is just the beginning.
I think we go? Yeah.
Rodriguez told us to head out onto the lake and we'd see what has many in Panama worried. Our boat is a small one, less than 25 feet, tiny on a lake the size of Gatun, no match for traffic.
Wow, that's big. It is just after noon in the Panama Canal, and that means it's rush hour. We've got a container ship going that way, and this big blue one here, that is the biggest size of ship that the Panama Canal right now can handle.
This is the Glovis Clipper, a 58,000-ton vessel. 50 megaships just like this one cross this lake and the canal every day. Each one needs 52 million gallons to transit through the canal. That's a lot of water, but Panama, like much of the region, is experiencing a terrible drought.
Have you ever seen it like this?
I've never seen the water level so low.
Rogelio Nunez is our captain. He is a man who knows this lake and knows what's happening isn't normal.
What is it normally like in the rainy season?
The rainy season, it rains every day. Now we go for weeks without a drop of rain.
Does it concern you?
We are very worried. Not only me, everybody in Panama is very concerned.
So you depend on water for your livelihood?
That's right. Panama depends on water.
And with that, Nunez and his crew steered us deeper into Lake Gatun. It wasn't long before we reached the spot everyone was talking about.
So you can see the height of the rust. That's how high the water normally is right now during the rainy season. But the waters are so low, you can see the top of this tree trunk, and this isn't the only one.
They stand like ghosts, suddenly caught in the harsh, hard light of day. Acres of what was once living forest now exposed for the first time in 100 years.
This is the first time that wherever you go, you find all these tree trunks that supposedly had disappeared forever, but now they are rising.
When engineers dammed up the Chagres in 1914, they decided to leave this forest intact, figuring it was too costly to remove these trees. But a new reality is now at play.
One only knows how serious the problem is when you live through it.
Along the edge of the lake, temporary pumping stations rigged up to reach the lower level of a now thirsty water system. This wasn't a postcard view of the country, but for the people here, it is an undeniable part of Panama.
Water is life. Water is life.
The expansion of the canal will bring more and even larger ships here. That means more water will be needed. It's looking like it may be ships versus people for Panama.
What has changed, Phil? It's that we weren't counting that the El Nino would be upon us on such a strength, on such an intensity and length. And so here we are with an upgraded canal for bigger ships, which is going to demand more water. And as our urban areas along the canal get bigger, and we have to face the future. What is Mother Nature telling us? Are we going to have enough water? Are we going to have El Niños more frequent?
Then it was time to leave the lake behind. We drove back toward Panama's sprawling urban center, still on a mission. This is Bacora Gardens, a village clearly suffering. Hoses rigged to a temporary water tower supply a limited, undrinkable supply. Jorge Guzman lives here in his modest home. This is a lucky day. Water is flowing from his faucet. When it does, he must fill any household item he can find with water. Our interpreter helped us understand what life for Guzman and his family is like.
Constantemente no, allá hace 3 días no venía el agua en la línea de agua potable.
He's saying that today they have water, but before that they didn't have for 3 days in a row. They spend weeks without washing their clothes. He's saying that they don't take baths, they just wash themselves because they don't have enough water to take like a full bath.
We're told Bacora Gardens isn't alone. All over Panama, families like the Guzmans face dry faucets. Strange for a country known around the world for its abundance of water.
This water is not infinite, and these locks are symbol that we have a problem with the quantity of water, and we need to be careful in the management of this water.
We wanted to know what the people in charge of engineering the new canal locks thought about all this.
In the planning of the canal, did you account for things like El Nino, things like climate change?
The El Nino is something that's happened in 102 years of operation twice. So it's not something that you design for, you mitigate.
Do you think the canal is prepared for this climate future?
I don't think we were expecting these changes so fast.
You have confidence in the Panama Canal?
Oh yeah, I have confidence. I have confidence in the people who are running the canal. And I have confidence that nature will return to its normal behavior.
Panama is so many things. The giant ships are always an impressive backdrop, especially when you're trying to shoot an interview.
So there is a rather large vessel coming right out. That just went through the canal.
That's right. It transited from the Atlantic into the Pacific here.
Matt Larson is used to the ships. He's the director of the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute here. He loves to point out the incredible diversity in Panama. For scientists, this is a dream location.
What makes Panama a unique place to study the environment?
This is a remarkable place because we have a very narrow isthmus here, 50 miles at the narrowest point. So we can get to either ocean, the Pacific and the Atlantic, in a matter of an hour or so.
We spoke with Matt at the Smithsonian's Nature Center at Culebra Point, a narrow strip of land that juts straight into the ocean. Ships were passing by, the sun heading down for the night. It was time to get down to business.
So I understand there are sloths here.
Yes.
Can we go take a look?
Yeah, let's go take a look.
All right.
They're very handsome.
Turns out sloths aren't the most outgoing animals. We had a bit of scanning of the treetops to do, and then we saw our first signs of life.
Oh, there's one.
See it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, there's another sloth right there.
Yeah, he's just mooning you now.
This is apparently prime time for sloths. And while the first two we spotted were pretty cool, we were about to get a better, crazier view.
He might have fallen.
We didn't expect him to be so close so suddenly.
So this amazing creature right here is the two-toed sloth. Now, this is the closest I've ever been to one. Lots of times they'll come down to the ground to go to another tree, and this guy actually might have fallen.
Hi, buddy. Hi. We decided to switch cameras to get a better look. Luckily, we moved quickly, or at least compared to this guy.
So Panama has everything. It's got the canal, it's got beautiful rainforest, and it's got sloths. Oh my gosh, you're adorable. Hi.
Just in case you're not up to your sloth scoop, here's the 411. They are mammals. Yes, they are slow, primarily because they eat leaves which don't provide a lot of energy. They have a reputation for being sleepy and lazy, but Smithsonian scientists using electronic tracking devices found wild sloths like these guys sleep a lot less, 6 hours a day less than the ones we see in zoos. But that's not all Smithsonian scientists discovered.
So in sloth hair, the fungus they found could fight malaria, could kill bacteria, and actually fight human breast cancer.
Apparently, yes. And it's not exactly known why the sloths might have this, but it's thought that because they spend their entire life in the canopy, they're exposed to the elements.
So sloths, they're not only adorable, but they may be life-saving.
Then, as the sun turned the skies around us into a picture postcard, the magic really happened.
He looks pretty healthy.
He does look healthy. What's pretty amazing is they're looking at you, and it's not necessarily threatened. I think there's enough humans that have come by in this area, but it's engaging, and it's looking around, and it's making its way up a tree. We were in Panama, and this sloth is just asking to be put on the internet for all to see, aren't you, sloth? He just winked. I think that's a yes. Watch this. Hi. Oh my gosh. You guys, look at this. I saw him scratching himself and grooming a little bit, so it seems like they know how to take care of themselves. So right now you can see there's actually a street light right there. So we're actually by a parking lot. And this kind of dusk time, this is primo sloth activity time when you actually see them move.
Since sloths don't exactly move too quickly, we had plenty of time to do our work. But then it was time to go.
Everybody say bye to the sloth.
Adios.
It is Saturday night after all, and this is Panama. But I don't think we'll be able to top this one. I mean, does it get any better than this? Dive deep into these stories and go behind the scenes at aljazeera.com/techknow. Follow our expert contributors on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google+, and more.